As you know, Thanksgiving next week, and with so many people planning to visit family and friends, now is a good time for a reminder on the best etiquette for the holidays, especially for those who might be meeting their significant others' families for the first time or attending that office party. Joining us now, Mr. Manners himself, Thomas Farley. It is so great to have you here, and I always think it's important to talk about etiquette. Thanksgiving, a holiday about food, Thomas. So let's first talk about, let's say you're a guest who has some dietary restrictions. Yes. How do you bring that up? Or maybe you're being offered something at the Thanksgiving table that you really don't want, or it's against, you know, your whatever, your beliefs of what do you eat. How do you politely turn it down?
And this will happen, for sure. So first of all, the host really ideally should have asked in advance when they invite you, do you have any allergies or dietary restrictions I should be aware of? But maybe that didn't happen.
Right.
You as the guest, again, you want to announce that as early on as possible. So not at the dinner table when something's plated in front of you and you're staring in horror at your food, but in advance.
Okay.
This way, you can actually bring at least a dish or two that you know you can eat and you can share with others.
Oh, I like that.
You don't want to expect the host is going to go to extreme lengths to accommodate everyone's restrictions.
Yeah.
But ideally, as a host, you want to accommodate at least a few so that people feel like they can participate. But if this is against your principles, or certainly if you're allergic, you're not going to, out of politeness, eat it anyway and suffer the consequences.
Right. Oh, I love how you said it really starts with the host, at least extending that invitation, you know, to ask it first. And if not, as a guest, consider bringing some of your own dishes. Fantastic. All right, let's say you are staying with some family or friends for the holiday. What is an appropriate amount of time to stay so that you're not overstaying your welcome?
Yes. So first of all, you don't want to get there late, but you definitely don't want to get there early. So please don't show up even 5 minutes beforehand when the host is racing around doing last minute things. So you really want to kind of keep an eye out for when is the host put out the coffee. This is the signal from the host that it's time to start wrapping up this visit. And if other people are going for their coats, this is probably the time for you to go for your coat as well.
Okay.
If the host has indicated an end time on the invite, which a lot of hosts don't do, they put question mark, question mark, question mark, and then they are tearing their hair out when their guests don't leave.
Right.
So the host, again, should be as clear as possible. Start time, yes, but what's the wrap time too? And then as the guest, you're mindful of that.
And then in terms of like if you are actually staying for a night or two, is there a recommended amount of time to stay, or is that just something you should declare beforehand?
Benjamin Franklin said, you know, house guests like fish stink after a couple of days. So I think 2 days really, unless this is a very good friend or family member and you stay there often, you want to give the host their house back.
Okay, let's say you are meeting a family of your significant other for the first time. What are some landmines we want to avoid?
Yeah, so first impressions matter so much. So you want to first know, is there a dress code? You don't want to come underdressed. You want to bring a housewarming gift that shows some intel on who these folks are, something you found out from your significant other.
Yes.
You want to mingle. So make sure that you're not just latched to your SO's side, but you're actually meeting, ideally, everyone that you can. Be mindful of those PDAs, the public displays of affection. You don't want to do that in front of especially your potential in-laws.
Right.
And watch your alcohol intake, of course. Very important.
Speaking of that, before you go, what about the office party? What are some faux pas to avoid there?
Yeah, so it really does a lot of times come down to the alcohol. So if you know that 3 drinks is when you start to feel tipsy, you're going to maybe have 1. If 2 drinks is when you start to feel tipsy, you're going to have none. Certainly, you're going to make sure you have a ride share if you're doing any kind of drinking whatsoever.
Super important.
But you do want to be there, and you want to be on your best. Know that just because it's after office hours doesn't mean that you're not being watched, which you definitely are.
Yeah, you still have to conduct yourself professionally, yes?
Very much so, yes. It's, you know, a lot of people will let their hair down at that office party, but those photographs will come back to haunt you, and we certainly don't want to be hearing from HR the next day.
Oh, that's true. Very good point. Thomas Farley, also known as Mr. Manners, a pleasure to speak with you always. Thank you for being with us. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Vicki. You as well.
Stay with us, folks. You are watching NBC News Daily. Much more news straight ahead.